The screech of twisted metal pierced the humid air as smoke billowed from the wreckage. Marcus Webb pulled himself from the debris of the research vessel, his head spinning from the impact. The botanist's expedition to catalogue rare flora had taken a deadly turn when their ship encountered an unexpected ion storm. He stumbled through the scattered remains, checking each crew member. His heart sank with each lifeless form he discovered. The pilot, the navigator, the communications officer, all gone. Then he heard it, a low, pained growl from beneath a collapsed bulkhead. Working frantically, Marcus pried away the twisted metal panels. Underneath lay the most striking being he had ever seen. Commander Zara Velthari of the Cytherian Alliance was pinned beneath the debris, her midnight blue skin glistening with perspiration. Silver markings traced elegant patterns along her arms and face, and her luminous golden eyes flickered with pain and fury. Her leg was impaled by a jagged piece of hull, and strange phosphorescent fungus from the planet's surface had already begun coating the metal. Marcus recognized the organism from his preliminary scans, highly toxic and aggressive. "Status report, human," Zara commanded through gritted teeth, her voice carrying the authority of a seasoned military officer, despite her compromised position. "We're the only survivors," Marcus replied, kneeling beside her. He examined the wound with practiced eyes. The skin around the puncture was already showing signs of infection, turning a sickly grey-green. Zara's bioscanner beeped weakly on her wrist. "My nanite healing system is offline. The ship's medical bay is destroyed." Her golden eyes narrowed as she watched Marcus tear strips from his shirt. "What are you doing with those primitive materials?" "Saving your life," he said simply, fashioning a tourniquet from the fabric. "This will hurt." She didn't flinch as he tightened the makeshift bandage, but her breathing became more labored. Her proud warrior's composure cracked slightly as he began working the debris free from her leg. "Cytherian medicine is far superior to anything your species could devise," she gasped. "We manipulate matter at the molecular level." Marcus positioned himself to lift the heaviest panel. "Your molecular medicine can't help you if you bleed out first. On 3. He didn't wait for her agreement. With a grunt of effort, he heaved the metal aside and quickly pulled the shard free. Zara's scream echoed through the jungle, a raw, primal sound that spoke of both agony and surprise at his swift action. Blood flowed freely from the wound as Marcus pressed clean cloth against it. Her blood was darker than human blood, with an almost purple hue that seemed to shimmer in the alien sunlight, filtering through the canopy above. "You dare touch me without permission," Zara snarled, but her voice lacked its earlier venom. Pain and shock were taking their toll. "I dare to keep you alive," Marcus replied, meeting her fierce gaze without backing down. Something passed between them in that moment, a recognition that their survival depended on each other, regardless of species or status. As he lifted her in his arms to carry her to safety, Zara felt the unfamiliar sensation of complete dependence on another being. His touch was gentle despite his strength, and for the first time in her military career, she was utterly powerless. The jungle around them pulsed with alien life, but in Marcus's arms, she felt an unexpected sense of security that her advanced technology had never provided. The cave Marcus found provided shelter from the twin suns and the predators that howled in the distance. He laid Zara on a bed of soft moss, her condition deteriorating rapidly. The toxin from the phosphorescent fungus was spreading up her leg, causing paralysis to creep through her nervous system. "My nanites should be countering this," Zara muttered, staring at her useless bioscanner. The device that had once seemed miraculous now felt like a mockery of her helplessness. Marcus returned from the jungle carrying an armload of plants, roots, and fungi he had carefully selected. The late afternoon light cast long shadows as he arranged his botanical specimens on a flat rock, sorting them with methodical precision. What is that collection of weeds supposed to accomplish? Zara's tone dripped with disdain, though her voice was weaker than before. These weeds have been fighting toxins like yours for millions of years, Marcus explained, producing a stone mortar and pestle from his emergency kit. Evolution is the ultimate chemist. It doesn't design elegant solutions, it finds ones that work. He began grinding a dark, fibrous root that released a pungent, earthy aroma. Zara watched his hands move with surprising grace and knowledge. There was something hypnotic about his focused attention, the way he seemed to commune with the primitive materials. Cytherian science maps entire genomes in minutes, she protested weakly. We can synthesize any compound, repair any damage. Your methods are nothing but superstition. Marcus added broad, waxy leaves to his mixture, crushing them until they released a sticky, amber-colored sap. Your science is impressive when the parameters are known, but this toxin isn't in your database. Your nanites don't know how to fight it because they've never encountered it before. The paste he created was dark and viscous, smelling of deep, earthen-growing things. As he approached her with the bowl, Zara's golden eyes flashed with indignation. "I will not allow you to smear that primitive concoction on my body," she declared, though the numbness in her limbs made the threat hollow. Marcus knelt beside her, his brown eyes serious but kind. "The toxin has reached your chest. In a few hours, it'll paralyze your diaphragm. Then you'll suffocate." He held her gaze steadily. "I can't force you to accept help, but I won't let you die from pride." The absolute certainty in his voice, combined with the growing difficulty she was having drawing breath, finally broke through her resistance. With barely perceptible movement, she turned her head away, the closest she could come to consent. His touch was unlike anything she had experienced. Cytherian medical procedures were performed by machines or through sterile force fields. The sensation of his warm, slightly rough hands cleaning her wound with boiled water was shockingly intimate. When he began applying the herbal paste, Zara couldn't suppress a shiver. The mixture was warm and seemed to pulse with its own life. Despite herself, she found the sensation oddly soothing. The constant burning pain from the toxin began to ease for the first time since the crash. "The salicylic compounds will reduce inflammation," Marcus explained quietly as he worked. "The alkaloids should bind to the neurotoxins and neutralize them. And this fungus," he indicated a spotted mushroom in his collection, "produces natural antibiotics." As he carefully bandaged the wound, his fingers brushed against her unmarked skin. The silver markings on her arm seemed to glow more brightly. At his touch, a physiological response she didn't understand and couldn't control. "Your people would call this magic," she whispered. "Maybe," Marcus replied, settling back on his heels. "But magic is just science we don't understand yet." For the first time since the crash, Zara felt something other than pain and fear. Watching. This human work with such knowledge and compassion stirred something unexpected in her chest, not just gratitude, but something deeper and more dangerous. 3 days passed in a rhythm of care and gradual recovery. Marcus had fashioned a more comfortable bed from gathered materials, and Zara found herself looking forward to his gentle ministrations. The paralysis was slowly receding, though she was still largely helpless. Each morning, Marcus would venture into the jungle to gather fresh medicinal plants. He would return with new specimens, explaining their properties as he prepared treatments. Zara found herself genuinely interested in his knowledge, her scientific mind engaging with his practical wisdom. "Tell me about this one," she said, nodding toward a delicate purple flower he was grinding. "Neurotropic alkaloids," Marcus explained, his face lighting up with enthusiasm. "On Earth, we have similar compounds in plants like foxglove. They can stimulate nerve regeneration when used correctly. He had rigged a system to prop her up so she could watch him work. The intimate arrangement meant he was often close enough for her to feel the warmth radiating from his body, to catch his scent, clean sweat mixed with the green smell of crushed plants. "You speak of earth plants as if you know them personally," Zara observed. The medication was working. Sensation was returning to her torso, though her legs remained numb. "I grew up on a farm," Marcus said, mixing the purple flowers with a yellow resin. "My grandmother taught me about medicinal plants before I ever saw a laboratory. She said the old ways weren't obsolete, just forgotten." As he applied the new treatment, Zara studied his face. There was something beautiful about his concentration, the way his eyes crinkled slightly when he was thinking. His hands were strong, but careful, and she found herself anticipating his touch. "Why did you become a botanist?" she asked. Marcus paused in his work, a distant look crossing his features. "Plants don't lie. They don't have hidden agendas or political motivations. They just exist and adapt and survive. There's honesty in that, and people do lie sometimes." His eyes met hers. "Though not always intentionally, sometimes we lie to ourselves most of all." The conversation felt dangerously personal. Zara was accustomed to keeping emotional distance from others, especially during military operations, but trapped in this cave, dependent on Marcus's care, those barriers were crumbling. That evening, as he helped her drink water from a hollowed gourd, their faces were inches apart. She could see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes, could feel his breath on her skin. The silver markings on her face began to glow softly, a response she couldn't suppress. "What do those markings mean?" Marcus asked softly, his gaze tracing the patterns on her cheek. "They reflect emotional states," Zara admitted reluctantly. "All Cytherians have them. It's inconvenient in diplomatic situations." "They're beautiful," he said simply, and her markings flared brighter. A comfortable silence fell between them, charged with unspoken awareness. Marcus's hand rested on her shoulder as he helped her settle back onto the moss bed. The simple contact sent warmth through her recovering body. "Marcus," she said quietly, as he prepared to move to his own sleeping area across the cave. "Yes, thank you for everything." The words felt inadequate for what she truly wanted to express. He smiled, the expression transforming his features. "Get some rest, Zara. Tomorrow I think you'll be able to move your toes." As he settled down for the night, Zara stared up at the cave ceiling, her heart beating with a rhythm that had nothing to do with the toxin's effects. She was falling for her human savior, and the realization both thrilled and terrified her. The jungle sounds outside seemed less threatening now, replaced by the steady sound of Marcus's breathing and the growing certainty that her life had irrevocably changed. On the 7th day, Zara wiggled her toes. The sensation was so remarkable after days of numbness that she gasped aloud, tears of relief streaming down her face. Marcus rushed to her side, his own face breaking into a brilliant smile. "The nerve pathways are reconnecting," he said, gently examining her legs. "Try to bend your knee." With tremendous effort and concentration, Zara managed to move her leg. Slightly, the motion was weak but unmistakable. Marcus's hand supported her limb as she exercised, his touch both professional and tender. "I never thought I would feel my own body again," she whispered, emotion making her voice thick. "Your primitive medicine succeeded where our greatest technology failed." "Not primitive," Marcus corrected gently. "Ancient. There's a difference." Their eyes met and held. The silver markings on Zara's face pulsed with warm light, betraying feelings she wasn't ready to name. Marcus's hand moved from her leg to cradle her face, his thumb tracing one of the glowing patterns. "These markings," he said softly. "What are they telling me right now?" Zara's breath caught. "Gratitude," she whispered, though they both knew. It was more than that. And this? His thumb moved to another pattern that was glowing more intensely. Affection, she admitted. Her warrior's honesty compelling truth, even when it made her vulnerable. And this one? He touched a marking near her temple that was pulsing with deep golden light. Zara closed her eyes, overwhelmed by the sensation and the emotions it represented. Desire, she breathed. Marcus leaned closer, his forehead almost touching hers. What does this mean for us? I don't know, she answered honestly. My people and yours, we've never had a reason to explore possibilities, Marcus finished, but maybe we do now. The kiss was gentle at first, tentative. Zara had never kissed a human before, had never imagined she would want to. But Marcus's lips were warm and soft, and when she responded, he deepened the kiss with a passion that made her markings flare like stars. When they broke apart, both were breathing hard. Zara's entire body was alive with sensation, not just from the returning nerve function, but from an awakening she hadn't expected. This is complicated, she said, though she made no move to pull away from his embrace. The best things usually. Marcus replied, brushing a strand of her dark hair from her face. Are you willing to explore complicated? Instead of answering with words, Zara pulled him down for another kiss. This time, there was nothing tentative about it. Her hands tangled in his hair as she poured weeks of suppressed emotion into the contact. Marcus's response was equally intense. His hands roamed over her recovering body with reverent care, mapping the patterns of her silver markings, learning what made her gasp and arch against him. I should be stronger before we... Zara began, but Marcus shook his head. We don't have to do anything you're not ready for, he assured her. I just want to hold you, to know that you're really going to be okay. They lay together on the moss. Bed, Zara's head on Marcus's chest, listening to his steady heartbeat. Her markings had settled into a soft, content glow that painted the cave walls in gentle light. What will happen when rescue comes? She asked quietly. Marcus's arms tightened around her. I don't know, but I know I don't want this to end. Nor do I, she admitted, but my duties, my people's expectations. We'll figure it out, Marcus promised, pressing a kiss to the top of her head. Whatever it takes. As sleep claimed them, both intertwined in each other's arms, the jungle outside seemed to approve of their union with a symphony of night sounds that felt like a blessing. The sound of approaching aircraft woke them on the 10th day. Zara was now strong enough to walk short distances, though she still leaned heavily on Marcus for support. They emerged from their cave shelter to see a Cytherian rescue vessel descending through the canopy. They found us, Zara said, but her tone held more apprehension than relief. Marcus squeezed her hand. Whatever happens, we face it together. The rescue team was led by Captain Thane Mordock, Zara's second-in-command. His expression was stern as he approached, flanked by armed soldiers. His golden eyes took in Zara's condition, the primitive shelter, and most pointedly, her hand clasped. In Marcus's, Commander Velthari, Thane said formally, we're relieved to find you alive. The human will be returned to his people immediately. No, Zara said firmly, stepping protectively in front of Marcus. This human saved my life using methods our science couldn't match. He deserves respect, not dismissal. Thane's eyes narrowed. Commander, you've been through trauma. Your judgment may be compromised. Standard protocol requires immediate medical evaluation and debriefing. My judgment is perfectly clear, Zara replied, her voice carrying all the authority of her rank. Dr. Marcus Webb is to be treated as an honored guest of the Cytherian Alliance. That's a direct order. The tension in the clearing was palpable. Marcus stepped forward, his voice calm but firm. I appreciate the protection, Zara, but I can speak for myself. He addressed Thane directly. Captain, I understand your concerns. But your commander and I have formed a personal bond that transcends our species' differences. Personal bond? Thane repeated, his tone sharp. Commander, surely you're not suggesting— I'm not suggesting anything, Zara interrupted. I'm stating facts. Dr. Webb and I wish to continue our association. The silver markings on her face were glowing steadily, betraying emotions she wasn't trying to hide. Several of the Cytherian soldiers exchanged glances, clearly uncomfortable with the situation. Commander, Thane said carefully, interspecies relationships are highly irregular. The High Command will expect explanations. Then they'll have them, Zara replied, along with a full report on how human botanical knowledge succeeded where our technology failed. Perhaps it's time we reconsidered our assumptions about primitive methods. Marcus felt a surge of pride at her words. She was risking her career, her standing with her own people to defend both him and his work. Zara, he said softly, drawing her aside, you don't have to do this. Your duty, your people. My duty is to truth, she replied, her golden eyes fierce. And the truth is that you saved my life, opened my mind and captured my heart. I won't abandon that for political convenience. Marcus cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs tracing her glowing markings. Then we do this together, your world, my world, whatever comes. Their kiss was witnessed by the entire rescue team, a public declaration that couldn't be taken back. When they separated, Zara turned to face Thane with renewed determination. Captain, prepare quarters for Dr. Webb aboard our ship. He'll be accompanying us back to Kythera as my personal guest and scientific advisor. Commander, the implications will be dealt with as they arise, Zara finished firmly. Now, shall we depart? I'm eager to introduce Dr. Webb to our botanical research teams. I believe they'll find his methods illuminating. As they boarded the rescue vessel, Marcus marveled at the turn his life had taken. He had come to an alien world to study plants, and was returning with something far more precious, love that transcended species and the chance to bridge two civilizations through understanding and respect. Zara leaned against him as the ship lifted off, her markings pulsing with contentment. No regrets? She asked softly. Marcus looked down at her. This warrior woman who had challenged every assumption he'd ever made about strength, healing, and love. None whatsoever, he replied, sealing the promise with another kiss as they soared toward their uncertain but shared future. The primitive methods that had once seemed like superstition had not only healed her body, they had opened both their hearts to possibilities neither had imagined. In a universe vast and full of differences, they had found something universal. Love that could overcome any barrier, heal any wound, and create new worlds of possibility.